A long life can pass by many milestones. My own is no exception.
That's the late Queen Elizabeth II speaking. Well, at 6:30 p.m. London time and of course Nigerian time on Thursday, the 8th of September 2022, the world received what many have described as a shocking report of the demise of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II. She died peacefully, as the Buckingham Palace indicated and repeated several times by British media, including the BBC.
The Palace has just issued this statement. It says the Queen died peacefully at Balmoral this afternoon.
This is how Hugh Edwards of the BBC World News broke the news. She died at the age of 96 after spending 7 decades, that is 70 years, on the throne. She had worked with 14 British Prime Ministers, and just a day or two after appointing the 15th one, that is Liz Truss, she passed away. This is what the Guardian newspaper says about the tribute that the new Prime Minister Liz Truss paid. Liz Truss has paid tribute to the Queen, describing her as the rock on which modern Britain was built, and whose death is a huge shock to the country and the world. Then she continues to say, "Our country has grown and flourished under her reign. Britain is the great country it is today because of her." The United States President Joe Biden, who is among the 13 US presidents the Queen had met before she died, put out a statement together with his wife to honor the Queen. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II was more than a monarch. She defined an era. In a world of constant change, she was a steadying presence and a source of comfort and pride for generations of Britons, including many who have never known their country without her. In France, President Emmanuel Macron decided to give an interesting speech in the English language, not in French. And here is what he says.
We are grateful for her deep affection for France. Elizabeth II mastered our language, loved our culture, and touched our hearts. To you, she was your queen. To us, she was the queen.
And despite the sour relations between Russia and the United Kingdom, especially now because of the war in Ukraine, the Russian President Vladimir Putin called her death an irreparable loss in a condolence message issued on Thursday. What about the continent of Africa? Of course, those are not the only leaders who have spoken about the Queen. Other leaders from other continents and regions across the globe have also paid their tributes. Here in Africa, and of course starting from Nigeria, leaders have been commenting on this extraordinary news. President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria has this to say, quote, "The story of modern Nigeria will never be complete without a chapter on Queen Elizabeth II, a towering global personality and an outstanding leader. She dedicated her life to making her nation, the Commonwealth, and the entire world a better place." Meanwhile, Uhuru Kenyatta, the outgoing Kenyan president, whose country was the then Princess Elizabeth visiting when she heard the news of her father's death and later automatically became queen, had this to say while describing her as a towering icon of selfless service to humanity and a key figurehead of not only the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth of Nations, where Kenya is a distinguished member, but the entire world. Many other African leaders have also expressed their thoughts about who the Queen was to them and what she meant to them as well. By the way, social media, since before the announcement of her death, got flooded with lots of messages and posts and tweets even. Citizens of different countries have been expressing their thoughts, and we have managed to get some of them for you. The first one is Noura Sani Suleiman, a graduate of economics, says, "She was a mother to all African British colonies. Her contribution to Commonwealth was immense and unforgettable." This one has come from Zulfa Abdulaziz, a level 300 student of mass communication at Bayero University, Kano. She says, Her death shouldn't be a call for celebration for Africans, because it wouldn't change a thing. It should be a call for question of where she met us and where she left us. What are we doing for a better Africa? Mukhtar Dauda Abdullahi is a graduate of political science from Bayero University, Kano, says, something interesting in the relations between Britain and her former colonial countries is the absence of the policy of assimilation, whereby the territories were allowed to keep on practicing their religions, cultures, norms and values that were in existence before the coming of the colonial masters. But on the other hand, a lot of people have taken a totally different turn, saying that this has not affected any of them. One person who said to me, let us focus on our domestic problems. Look, university lecturers in Nigeria have been on strike for the past 7 months now. Another person says, can Nigerians politically, economically, culturally and socially mourn or celebrate Queen Elizabeth's demise? Because I have seen many of whom celebrating, but others mourning. Other people seem to have attached the Queen with the atrocities of the colonialism. And that is why we decided to put 2 questions to a historian at Bayero University, Kano, Malam Gaddafi Abubakar. And as an expert, he has something to offer. The first question I put to him is that, is it fair for Africans to criticize Queen Elizabeth II for the colonialism in Africa? And this is the answer he gives. Queen Elizabeth II, as an individual British monarch, was not a culprit in the colonization of Africa. Colonial subjugation of the African continent largely happened between 1884 and 1914, before Elizabeth II was even born. Remember, she was born in 1926 and ascended the throne in 1952. In Nigeria, for example, Sokoto Caliphate, the most important political entity in the area that later became Nigeria, was conquered by the British in 1903, and the amalgamation of the southern and northern protectorates to form Nigeria was promulgated in 1914. All those important happenings took place before the Queen's parents were even married. But if we are to evaluate Elizabeth II as a representative and beneficiary of an old system, the British monarchy, that is, then certainly we may find her wanting. Her forefathers not only committed the atrocities of colonizing Africa, but also that of the Atlantic slave trade and the triangular trade before it. The estate and the currency of the British royal family enjoyed for generations was significantly due to the above exploits. Then we put the second question to him, which says, is it true that she was really instrumental in giving independence to those African countries colonized by Britain? The answer he gives is no, with an exclamation mark. He continues to say, she wasn't. It was a gradual process that started in 1945, immediately after the Second World War. Both external and internal factors contributed to the decolonization process. By the time Elizabeth II was crowned queen in 1952, it was eminent that colonialism was going to an end, and the machinery for ending it was already set in motion. But no doubt, all the British colonies in Africa became independent under her reign. In the 1960s and 70s, more than 20 countries in Africa and the Caribbean were granted independence in a planned transition by her government, until her death on the 8th of September 2022. She remained the head of the Commonwealth of Nations, a title tied to our collective colonial experience. That's Malam Gaddafi Abubakar of the Department of History, Bayero University, Kano, answering our questions. Finally, the media, as the main source of information, has been stuffed with a great deal of information. Different media outlets and channels like the BBC have suspended their normal schedule, having a special coverage of this event. Mustafa Muhammad is a former BBC journalist and now CEO of Quick Action Media Company based in Kano State, Nigeria. Helps me understand how significant this event is for the media globally. And here is what he has to say. The late Queen is the longest serving monarch in the history of England and played several roles in colonialism. The media across the globe should give the story prominence. 1. Britain is one of the giant nations in the West that colonized several nations. 2. The monarch is the most respected monarch in the world. 3. The way she died, according to the Buckingham Palace, she died peacefully. 4th, monarchs are from across the globe. But one thing I need to end with is a simple question with capital letters. Was Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II the Queen of England, Britain, or the United Kingdom? If you have the answers, just drop them in the comment sections. On behalf of everyone, including the experts that we have quoted, who have contributed immensely and significantly to this special report, and the media companies that have served as our sources, I am Umar Isa Dandago, together with my humble producer, Muhammad Bello Dabai, saying goodbye and see you soon, inshallah.